This is in response to Billy's Talking Points memo from Tuesday, October 28th, 2014, President Obama in big trouble. And it must have been a very slow news day because you really didn't say much, but you did bring up an important thing about the election that's coming up. Is that number one, yes, there is a possibility of a low turnout, which always happens in non-presidential years. That does not look good for the Democrats. If they could get the type of voter turnout in 2014 that they got in 2012, they would rip the crap out of the Republicans. But that's not the way it is. Now, there's a number of reasons for it, but let me just go into Billy's few little things where he talks about President Obama being in big trouble. Basically, the economy's not doing that great, and that people are not happy with the way things are going in the country, and of course they want to blame Obama. I would just say here that the country is doing much better than it would do if any Republican had been elected. The last president proved that because he was the first of the Republican presidents and would be for any other person who was Republican that would be elected president, is that they do not want government to run well. Now, other people, I would say Bush and Reagan, they wanted government to run well in only in a much smaller capacity. I don't even think any of these people even want government to run well. So that's the one thing. Then you brought up voter apathy. You brought up voter narcissism. You brought up poor education. And all of those things do contribute to that. That's a whole other thing on education. It's a whole other thing on civic responsibility and why. Well, I would say that there's a number of reasons why there's apathy about it all, and I think that it's portrayed by the Republican Party is that they never have anything good to say except for when they're doing it, of course, but they always have something negative to say about the economy. Nothing is ever good. Now, yes, things aren't going as well as many people would like to suspect, but I think that the policies the president has proposed and that Democrats have proposed would have done tremendously well if they had ever passed. They're not going to pass. But let's get back to the election. So you have apathy and you have, let's say, narcissism, whatever you want to call it. But, here's the thing. If you're young, if you're color, you can't take off a Tuesday because you got to work. You can't take 3 or 4 hours off because you need, I need 40 hours every week. I can't not get 40 hours. And that's the way a lot of people are. And if they're not working 40, they got to get what they can get anyway. So that's number one, is that a lot of people can't take the time off. Number two, a lot of people don't have the transportation to get to the center where they need to go. All right. Now, another thing about that is, why are elections on Tuesdays? Now, as has been going on quite a bit in the last 2 years, Republican legislatures all over the country who run both both houses of their state government with a Republican governor has signed many voter laws, and those laws are fully intended to hurt people of color and poor people and young people, and that's because Republicans want fewer people to vote. Now, Democrats want more people to vote. All right. Now, if you had an election on a Saturday, and I think a lot more people would turn out. But this is the way it's been going on. It's the way it's been going on for quite some time. Also, you also have the feeling that people's votes don't count. And why don't they count? Well, one example is the United States Senate, where 50 senators have a voting bloc, and the percentage of the population that they represent in the United States is like 19%, meaning that half of the senators represent the smallest half in terms of population of the country. So why should someone in California who has 2 senators vote? Their vote doesn't count nearly as much as someone from Montana or someone from Rhode Island. And you could call that apathy, but there's a bit of fairness in here. Now, that one I don't think will ever get changed. I'd like to see that these voter ID laws would be dropped. There are other ways to do it, and possibly have elections on a Saturday, because that would encourage everyone to do it. Now, Billy also points out, that now that we're electing incompetent people. And of course, I think that if there was a greater turnout, that we would be voting more competent people. Because a lot of the people who are voting right now, especially in off-year elections, are older people and white people. And that's me. But I'm voting straight Democrat down the line. Because it doesn't make any difference who the Republican is. I know what their policies are. I have read their platform. I understand their grand plan for living. And it is solely about less taxes on the wealthy people, not necessarily on the regular people, and less education, less government, less things. We need, in my opinion, we need the Department of Agriculture, we need the Department of Labor, we need the Department of Commerce. We need these agencies. They're vital. Okay, the EPA is vital to the well-being of the citizens of the United States of America. And we need well-qualified people in Congress who don't want to have government run everything, but want to have an efficient and effective government where the things that need to be taken care of for the average person, pollution being one great one, global warming being another great one, and whether it's water, whether it's air, whether it's fracking, these things all need to be looked at. People die every single year because of food poisoning. We need the Department of Agriculture to monitor this type of stuff. But the point is, getting back to Billy, he's just sloughing over everything. People are apathetic, they're narcissistic, they're dumb, they're poorly educated, and this is what you're going to get. And I'm going, I can see all of that, but what about the solution? The solution is, well, why don't we have elections on a Saturday? Why don't we have more civic classes in the grade school system? More education about what the government does and how it functions. How it functions to help everybody, not to help just the rich people, even though it still helps the rich people quite a bit. What other things can be out there? Well, the voter ID is pretty poor. If you want to have a national ID, why don't we have a national ID? But let's let it take 5-10 years till we know that every single person has one in their possession. How about the getting more people to help them go to the polls by driving them? I know the Democrats do that. I know the Republicans do that. Can it be available for everyone? I mean, can there just be one line and one line to call in the county and the state where you call, and someone will pick you up and drive you to the election booth if that's necessary? We don't have that. That would be nice. Then I would think that we would get more and more people in. But again, when people don't feel they're being represented, when people don't feel that their vote is worth anything, when people think that the government doesn't work well because people like you, Billy, are saying that the government doesn't work well, and everyone on your channel, basically doesn't say, mocks the government for what they do, whether it's good and whether it's bad. They mock it. People have a very poor perception of what the government does, and people in the government do excellent work, and a lot of it is vital work. Right? But when people are told that they're, like I said, their vote doesn't count, it doesn't make any difference who you vote for, they're all crooks. Again, why should people vote? You have to give them a reason to vote. And I think that I know the Democrats need to do a heck of a lot more to do that. But to say that the voters are apathetic, to say that the voters are narcissistic, I would say no. There are some, strong reasons to do it, and I think that we need to get more involvement of our electorate to vote. I think that we need to get more people to vote. And I think that we should have a better appreciation of the election process and make it easier so that people can vote, not harder. Okay, so all of the things you're giving, Billy, are the exact opposite of what would make good governance. And you're sitting there, and of course, look at your title, President Obama in big trouble. Could be, but I certainly hope that more young people, more people of color, more women come out and vote in this election.